Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pam Voles, the President and CEO of the North Mason Chamber, and we thank you for being with us today and attending this webinar. We are pleased to work with the Shelton-Mason County Chamber and EDC to bring you this program. I'd also like to thank our Chamber and EDC board members and you, our members at large.
We are recording today's presentation. The video recording will be available at masonchamber.com. We will also provide today's slides as a handout for your convenience. You should see that over on your dashboard on the control panel of your screen. And I am Heidi McCutcheon, CEO of the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce. You will have the opportunity to submit questions for today's webinar also. Those are on that same control panel. You can just simply type it in, and we will have a question and answer session after each presenter.
Okay, so once again, we are pleased to convene our local leaders to discuss the state of the community of Mason County. As you know, if you have attended last week, and we have two more coming in this four-part series, we've expanded it to fit our virtual world. Last week, we heard from Mason County and City of Shelton, and the upcoming weeks, you will hear from our ports, utilities, and our local tribes. Today, it is our pleasure to be joined by Superintendent Dana Rosenbach of the North Mason School District, Shelton Campus Administrator for Olympic College, Allison Smith, and from our today's sponsor, Shelton School District, Director of Academies, Dina Alley, Shelton High School, Bruce Kipper, or Principal Bruce Kipper, and Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle.
Before we begin, please take a moment to let us know. Oh, we don't have that, so sorry about that. Pam, go ahead and we'll introduce Dana.
Great. So we'll kick off our program with the North Mason schools. Dana Rosenbach is in her 7th year as superintendent of the North Mason School District. How did that happen? 7 years. Wow, that's awesome. Throughout her career in education, she has been a strong advocate for students, especially those left behind by their schools and communities. Dana began her career as a 4th grade teacher at Seebeck Elementary in Central Kitsap and has taught elementary, middle, and high school, and has served as a special education, English language learner, and alternative education teacher. She was a middle school principal at Blue Heron Middle School in Port Townsend and Pioneer Middle School in Walla Walla. She also served as the executive director of teaching and learning in Longview. Dana has always been very involved in her community and currently serves on the board of United Way of Mason County, is an ex officio on the board of the North Mason Chamber, which we greatly appreciate, and she is a member of the Kiwanis, Rotary, and Mason County opioid stakeholders, and part of the leadership team of Graduation Strong. Welcome, Dana.
Good morning. And thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here and talk to you about the state of the schools in North Mason this year. Oh, I am playing with my slides. We worked on them. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. So in North Mason, we have had a very interesting year, just like everybody else, and maybe we've had a little bit of extra that is interesting. But to talk about our demographics for North Mason right now, as of this morning, our enrollment is at 2286, and we anticipate some additional growth by the October count. We are up a little bit from this time last year, not as much as usual, but we are pleased that we do see some growth because many of our neighboring districts are seeing very significant losses due to the inroads made by other online learning opportunities for kids. Our demographics have been changing steadily over time. We remain a high poverty school district. We now offer a program through the federal government called CEP that provides free meals to all students in our district, breakfast and lunch, and because we qualify with our high free and reduced numbers. We also have a growing EL or English learner population, and we're steadily growing as a school district as well. But in the past, since last February, we've had some major challenges, and those started with a levy failure. We actually ended the year with a double levy failure, which presented a lot of challenges to the district, but I'm very proud of my team. We had done a lot of forward thinking and planning, and we were prepared for the eventuality. We were hoping, of course, for something different, but we did respond. We have also, like everybody else, been responding to the challenges presented by the COVID-19 epidemic, and those are many. And then as we enter the new school year, we have new learning models and a lot of online competition for the models that we're presenting. So to start with how we've dealt with some of those challenges just briefly, we did have to do significant layoffs. When we were preparing for the levy last year, I charged my team with preparing parallel budgets, a budget for a successful levy and a budget for an unsuccessful levy. So we were actually prepared when we got the votes in to take action right away to be sure that we were in a good place to serve students and to be efficient users of the resources that we would have in the coming year. And then COVID-19 hit. And so we all were in a very new place, and we had challenges actually that were presented by the way that the government decided to help, the other federal and state government decided to help us, because giving us the opportunity to continue to pay employees, but maybe those employees weren't reporting for work at all, set up some challenges as we deal with the employee groups moving forward into the school year. We did do some immediate layoffs in April when we knew that there were staff members that wouldn't be able to serve kids and that didn't qualify for any of those exceptions. So we initially laid off some parapros and other staff at that point in time. Then as a result of the levy, we did our RIF, our reduction in force of teaching employees in May, which resulted in 10 teachers who reduced. 6 of those teachers were recalled as we worked through the summer and had some attrition and some changes in enrollment. And then we had a series of other layoffs that got us to this point in time. So altogether, we have laid off a total of 62 North Mason employees. We laid off in the first round the 10 teachers, and then we had a layoff in the classified employees group of 35 students, of whom 5, or teachers, excuse me, of whom 5 were recalled. We had a further layoff in our transportation department of 28 bus drivers. 16 of those have been recalled, and 15 who were laid off in the sub drivers and food service as a result of the learning model that we're in going forward. So we were fortunate when the state determined that and the feds, that we would be able to use our transportation to provide meal delivery to families again this spring, at least through Christmas. We were very successful with that effort last year, delivering well over 200,000 meals to families beginning in March. And we were very concerned that we would only be able to provide meals for families who could get to our schools to pick them up. So we have begun meal delivery again this fall. Instead of doing meal delivery every day of the week, though, we are condensing it to 2 days a week with multiple days of meals being delivered on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that we can be efficient with our use of our resources and our staff. We have new learning models in place that are there to support our kids, and we've provided multiple choices, and our families are taking advantage of that, but we are seeing competition from more established online learning programs. So our current instructional model is based on a 6-step plan for looking at when we return kids to school. And I have to introduce you to my little friend Jason here. We have students who are all learning remotely in our various options. Jason and his siblings were yesterday working on the picnic table right outside my office because they don't have connectivity at home, and he was very willing to include his picture in our conversation today. But in our model, we are looking at what information we have from the state and from both of the county health offices that we work with. Because North Mason straddles the county lines, we have to consider what is going on in Kitsap County as well as Mason County when we determine what our next steps are and how safe it is to return kids to school. We have been told that our decisions are based on both counties, but whichever county has the worst situation is the county that we have to use to make our determinations. In our 6 stages, stage 6 would be returning to school fully in person. Stage 1 would be everybody working from home, all staff and all students. In stage 2, students are working from home in any of our 3 learning models, but staff are able to work at the building. In stages 3 through 5, we start to bring kids back into school, starting with those we've identified as who need it the most to begin with. That might be kids with special education needs. That might be some of our English learner families. That certainly will be our families who have no connectivity at all, so that the remote learning model is very difficult for them to do. Our 3 options that are available. Oh, I think I get to that later on another slide. So yes, we have multiple models. Our families are able to choose from being a part of HomeLink, which is a parent partnership model. They are also able to select a new option in North Mason. We stood up a new campus, a virtual campus this year called North Mason Online, which is which will continue for families even when kids return to school. They either in HomeLink or North Mason Online, they will be able to stay in the remote learning environment throughout the school year. North Mason Online is staffed completely by our teachers using our curriculum, but is set up to be an online learning option throughout the year. And then we had planned to start the year in a hybrid model where kids would come to school a couple of days a week, up to 3 or 4 days, depending on student needs. But we're unable to do that because of the current level of COVID exposure in our communities. So that model is currently learning remotely, but will have the opportunity to return to school as the situation improves. So what's next for us is getting kids back in buildings. We will be following health department recommendations and working with both of our health departments. We are looking seriously at student needs and which groups of kids need to be back first and need to be supported the most. And we are concerned first and foremost with ensuring the safety of our staff and our students to the greatest degree possible. We are looking forward to having everybody back. We know that we're learning many great new things. Our online learning model is extremely robust, and kids and families and staff are having an amazing experience. But for some kids, they really need to be in school. And for many reasons, all kids need to be in school some of the time. So we're working towards that. One of the things that's very important to members of our community is what about the activities that our students are involved in? And many of those activities are still ongoing. Our music programs are happening online and virtually. Many of our clubs are happening virtually. We have restrictions around athletics right now, but we know that many of our sports participants are working on their conditioning at home. And when we are back in the conditioning window that's allowed by WIAA, our teams will start some conditioning remotely with their coaches, and we will be hoping to start in that season 2 as presented by WIAA in the winter and get all of our sports in this year. So I know our kids are missing many of those activities, but we are hoping that they will have great opportunities. Our teachers and counselors and other staff are working with kids every day in small groups and individually, remotely, when what we call both synchronous and asynchronous learning. Synchronous is basically live, like we're doing right now. Asynchronous is work that is recorded either by the teacher, by the student, some combination of both. We are using a learning management system for the students and teachers and families to communicate with each other, and that is going very well. We have had, as everybody does with something new, some bumps in the road, but those are getting smoothed out and we are making great progress. We do have plans to support our kids who don't have connectivity, and we're very thankful for PUD3 and the work that they have done in placing hubs at various places throughout the community so that people can go and be in the parking lots and use those Wi-Fi hubs to get online and get their work done. We're taking advantage of that. We're also putting a couple of our teacher assistants in a van and on a schedule, and they are visiting the hubs in our community at scheduled times so that they can be there to provide support to our students and their families. We are also partnering with the child care centers within our district and providing some support who can be there to help our kids while they're in those centers doing their work. We're very thankful for all the community partners that we have that are coming up with ways to make sure that our kids are fed and clothed and have all the resources that they need. And we'll continue to keep looking for those partners and ways to expand that. We've been very thankful that throughout this process, we've had the opportunity to work with our stakeholders throughout the community, whether it's students, parents, staff, always remotely, almost always at least anyway, through a lot of Zooms and a lot of conversations. But we're very positive. They're all very positive. We're all working together to meet the needs of our kids. We're looking to the day when school resumes in something like what we all know school to be. But in the meantime, our partnerships are helping us ensure that kids are getting a strong experience and a positive, strong education, and that they'll be prepared to be effective citizens in the future. And with that, I'll wait until the question period, but I'm again, very thankful that I was invited to be here today. And if you have any questions about things at North Mason that we don't get to answer today, please give us a call and we'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dana. I'm Deidre Peterson, the Membership Director with the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be moderating our question and answer periods today. For those of you who are attending today's webinar, if you have questions for Dana, please go ahead and add those into the questions section of the control board on your right. As of right now, we do not have any questions, so we'll give a brief pause in case anyone would like to do so, and otherwise we will move on to the next portion of our presentation.
Okay.
And it looks like you did such a lovely job informing us that we have no questions at this point. So thank you so much, Dana. At this point, I will turn it over to Heidi to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. So our next presentation is from Olympic College. A lifelong Belfair resident, Allison Smith has been employed for the college for 15 years. Her career has included work as a legal secretary, in public health, as a Superior Court clerk, and as the registrar for North Mason High School. In 2014, she took on a new role at the Shelton campus as the Mason County Community Education Director. As the Shelton campus administrator, she has facilitated the return of the Nursing Assistant Certification Program, increased evening classes, and brought on several new course offerings. She established an on-campus food marketplace and saw a major interior renovation project. Allison is very involved in our community. She's on the board for the Mason County Economic Development Council, is also involved with Skookum Rotary, Turning Point Survivor Advocacy Center, and serves on the Shelton-Mason County Chamber's Member Services Committee. When she's not busy at the college or involved in all of these community activities, she enjoys being in her garden, crafting, and spending time with her granddaughters. Allison Smith. Oops, Allison.
And my phone's ringing right this minute. So welcome everybody. I am so happy to be here. I don't know about you, but the COVID thing has truly affected me. It first seemed like I was on a snow day, but the snow days just kept going and going. So I'm sorry. It's my sorry. That's my 93-year-old father leaving me a message. So what I want to talk about, I'm going to break things down into 3 simple steps. It's basically where we were before COVID. And as Heidi mentioned, and I've probably brought this up before, but the renovations at the campus were a major thing. When the campus was built in 1990, they furnished it with leftover furnishings from the main campus. So that was one of the things that we completed. Our students had state-of-the-art equipment to work with. The Board of Trustees had made it a college goal that there would be equity for students on all 3 campuses. There has been, and that's wonderful, because because of that, we were able to establish a no cancel policy. Part of the problem that we had with our courses is they use the same criteria to determine whether or not we could run classes for the 350 students we have on Shelton compared to the 13,000 students on the main campus. So that was changed. We were increasing face-to-face instruction. We had permission to build our own pool of adjunct faculty, and that's still something that I'm looking for. I know that there are a lot of people in Mason County who truly have some experience that they could share with us, but we were expanding our course offerings in these face-to-face instructions. And one of the benefits of our little tiny campus is the fact that we really get to know our students and are able to provide one-on-one student assistance. Our enrollment was stable. It was growing slowly, but yeah, so that's where we were. Now we'll talk about where we are. Whoops, did I do something wrong here? There we go. Oops. So, as with everyone, the college had to do some major changes in order to go strictly to online instruction. It was a big thing, but we determined early on that we would offer all courses online for fall quarter. And we're starting that in 2 weeks. The State Board of Community and Technical Colleges had a list from all 34 colleges that they proposed to the governor for some face-to-face clinicals and labs that were approved. So we do have some. For example, our welding students are able to come on campus, small groups at a time, and our nursing assistant certification students are able to do their clinicals. So that's a real benefit to be able to get the students the experience that they need. Every office on the campus has gone virtual. So we are running our offices from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We have Zoom meetings set up. We work, they call it the Ranger Station, and students can get in there and they can get help with their financial aid, their advising, their registration, all of that kind of stuff. We are all doing virtually. There are budget concerns for the community colleges. The legislation, as you know, doesn't go back until January, and so we don't anticipate to have any answers until 2021. The colleges have been asked to prepare for a 5, a 10, 15, or 20% cut. Our enrollment currently is down 12%, so that's a huge hit financially for the colleges. I think that, you know, it's just too much for a lot of our students who have don't have the accessibility to the Wi-Fi. Olympic College is loaning computers and hotspots to students in order to make it possible, but I think that it's just so overwhelming for so many students who are also raising children and have all of those things that they have to contend with. During all of this, at the same time that we went on lockdown, we were going through what we call the CTC link, which is a community college computer system. We were using a computer system from the 80s, and the conversion has been difficult, to say the least. We are the third set of colleges in the system to do this, and it is improving, but the transfer of information from the old system to the new system did not necessarily go very well. We are very fortunate that we have the CARES Act money. The OC got $3 million from the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. It provided budgetary relief to the higher ed, and at least 50% of this funding is used to provide direct financial support to colleges. So we were, you know, and each college was left to determine how they would use it. So what we decided is that we would provide $500 to each student who would be taking 5 credits or less, $750 to students with 6 to 11 credits, and $1,000 to students who are full-time. And that they can use that in any way that they can. We have students who are sitting in their cars in our parking lots to use our Wi-Fi, which we boosted in order to take their classes. It's just such a real difficult time for everyone. So where we are going, let's see if I can move this slide. There we go. So we have over 1,000 online courses, and I have to tell you that from the Shelton perspective, in some ways, this has really been beneficial to our Shelton students, because suddenly everything is equal to all students on all 3 campuses. Everything is open. So they have a bigger choice of the courses that they can take. Granted, it's online, but that is a real benefit. There is the Washington College grant, and I don't know if any of you are aware of it, but it is free money to go to college, basically. If you had a family income of, let me see, $50,000 or less, you get full coverage to go to college, to the Washington College grant. So if you know of anybody that's interested in that, please have them contact me and I can get them more information. So we have increased in-person instruction, you know, that and have innovative new courses that we're offering. There's a lot of training that has gone on for our faculty and staff in order to convert. And, you know, we are working desperately to continue to support our students and the community. One of the things that we're working on right now for the Shelton campus is partnering with the WIDE to maybe provide, we're working on it, daycare for up to 30 children on our campus, because we have empty buildings, and it would be a great benefit, I think, to our community partners. So I think that's about it for me. I don't think, so if you have any questions, let me know.
Thanks so much, Allison. And as of right now, we don't have any questions from the audience. If we do see those come through, we'll try to circle back at the end or be sure to get them to you so you have a chance to respond. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Mhm.
All right. And now we'll bring it back to Heidi and Pam to introduce our next section.
Thank you, Allison. So finally, we'll conclude today's program with our sponsor, Shelton School District. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Alex Apostle. He's the superintendent of the Shelton School District. He was born and raised in Tacoma, Washington, was the superintendent of the Missoula County School for 7 years, and also served as assistant superintendent at the Tacoma Public Schools in Washington for 9 years, and was a high school principal for 12 years in various rural, suburban, and urban public school systems throughout Washington state. He was a teacher for 8 years at the Tacoma Public Schools, and he holds a bachelor's degree from University of Puget. He also earned a master's in education degree with secondary education and specialist in education and PhD degrees in educational administration from University of Idaho. Welcome, Alex.
Also joining us from the Shelton School District is Dina Alley. She's beginning her 15th year with the Shelton School District, where she has been a Shelton High School assistant principal, associate principal for college and career readiness. An Air Force veteran, Dina's teaching background ranges from middle school through college in Missouri and Montana. Prior to her coming to Shelton, she was the director of field experiences for the School of Education at the University of Montana Western. Currently, Dina is the director of academies K through 12 for the Shelton School District, where she leads the work in creation of the Shelton Academy's K through 12 program.
Last but not least, Bruce Kipper spent the 32 years in the Tempe Union High School District in Tempe, Arizona, prior to coming to Shelton School District. He's served in many roles over those years, including math teacher, school counselor, at-risk coordinator, assistant principal, and district director of athletics and activities. Bruce was the principal at Mountain Point High School from 2008 to 18, prior to joining the Shelton School District as principal of Shelton High School. So welcome, Bruce, and we'll hear from you first.
Well, thank you. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the chamber and everybody watching. And I just can't tell you how excited I am to be in the Shelton community and to be involved in this school district. You're going to hear some information about one of our new programs that's going to be coming online here at Shelton with the Med Academy. And Dina will explain that in detail, but it's one of the reasons that drew me to this district was their commitment to both college and career preparedness for our students. And the addition of this academy is going to allow all of our students to be both prepared, not only for career, if they choose that, but also for post-secondary education. So again, I'm just really excited to be in the community and looking forward to working with our families and our community partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm Dina Alley, Director of Academies K-12 for the Shelton School District. Welcome. We wanted to give you an update, a brief review and update on our academy model, and then tell you the really exciting news that we have going forward. And I'm hoping that I will be able to advance our, here we go. So we're just going to do a really quick back to school update. It's one slide. We are starting the school year 100% online in all of our schools, addressing special circumstances as needed. At the high school level, we're offering all courses to make sure that students are meeting their graduation requirements and their college and career planning. And like all the schools you've heard from, we have plans in place for a partial return, a hybrid model, a return to full in-person learning, and the options for families to remain in online learning. We'll be working with guidance from the state and the local health department. And I invite you really to tune into the district and building community and public forums for more information on exactly what's happening in each building. You got a chance to hear from Bruce. We are so happy to have Bruce with us as the Shelton High School principal. He brings us a wealth of knowledge, and it's very exciting to have him join the team. So I just want to review with you quickly the academies that we have. This is so exciting because it's the first year where all of our sophomores have now been through Freshman Academy, and they have chosen what academy and what pathway they want to follow. So they will every year take at least one academy class and then plan the rest of their coursework around their preferred electives, as well as their core requirements, their AP classes, their art, their music, their NJROTC, all of the things that they have interest in. So in our Health Science Academy, we have a patient care pathway. That's for students who really want to be that hands-on with patients. We have a sports medicine and fitness pathway. That's our newest pathway. Very exciting. That covers all sorts of careers and activities in those fields. And then we have the Project Lead the Way pathway, which we describe as being that very advanced science student who knows that they're going to be in school for a while. They want to be a doctor. They want to be a medical researcher. They are taking a really advanced set of science classes that they find really fascinating. They have built skeletons from literally nothing and put every single human anatomy system on them. And students just become very, very engaged with that idea. We have a Business, Finance, and Hospitality Academy. In that, we have pathways in marketing, in business, in what is turning out to be very popular, which is our entertainment production pathway, which if you think of things like all of the concerts that you go to, all of the events at like Little Creek Event Center, any place that you go to, the Tacoma Dome, to downtown, to the Mariners, anywhere where someone is helping you enjoy yourself, that's entertainment production and hospitality. And then our ever popular culinary pathway, which always has a lot of student interest. We have a Natural Resources Academy, which includes our forestry, horticulture, and our aquaculture pathway, which are our new offerings in that. In horticulture, one of the things that you're going to see us do is convert our greenhouses from just being a once-a-year ornamental plant sale to being a year-round, more food-based, farm-to-table type of idea, where we're hoping to have opportunities for people to get information and to get food from the horticulture program year-round. Here's the big news. Here's what we really wanted to come talk with you about, and we're so very excited about this. We already have a Manufacturing, Engineering, and Technology Academy, which is a mouthful, so we call it the MET, and it currently includes the construction pathway, the welding pathway, the automotive pathway, and the engineering pathway. We are about to split that engineering pathway into two different pathways that you see in red on the left-hand side. One will be more of a pure engineering pathway, and one will be a pathway in what is called mechatronics. And that is actually the intersection of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and information technology. Now, in all of our academies and in all of our pathways, it's really important to know that, as Bruce mentioned, what we're doing is preparing students for whatever they want to do next in life. And that includes everything from having an industry-recognized credential to go straight to the job market, or perhaps to work while they go on to college, to a technical certificate, to a 2-year program, to a 4-year degree, to advanced doctoral studies. In order to house the MET, you are going to see this beautiful new building arise in what is currently the staff parking lot at Shelton High School. And this is the new building for the Met Academy Phase 1, and it will house that new mechatronics program. As you can see, that wall of windows is going to face Shelton Springs Road. This first phase of the building is 3,400 square feet. And it is expandable, so that as we expand our programs, this building can be added onto on either end for future expansion. This is the site map. You see it located in the current Shelton High School staff parking lot. That center orange part there that you see, that is that first building that you were just able to get the picture of. And then the new staff parking lot moving off to the side of the building. And you see the spaces for future expansion. This building, and I'm going to just move back to it, is going to have a station approach. There are going to be a variety of stations where students are going to do all of the things that go in mechatronics: CNC, machine tools, pneumatics, mechanical systems, electrical systems, information technology, robotics, computer applications. Those things are going to really move us forward in the idea of 21st century skills for our students, regardless of what their after high school plan is. I'd like to take this opportunity to turn it over now to, after we talk about how to become involved, we should talk about how can you become involved. So you can become involved in any of our academies in any of these ways. Come be a guest speaker in person or virtually. We're working on how to do that in a virtual environment. You can be on one of our advisory committees. You can show us a part of your day. Don Wielander and I are working on a program where you can wear a body cam for a few hours to show us a day in the life of your career. We have some scientists who are going to be out in the field, and they're very excited about, hey, we want to show students exactly what we do on our job. We can't maybe take a student with us, but we would surely love to show you what a day in the life looks like. You can host a job shadow or a capstone experience student. You can mentor a student project. Obviously, you can donate time, talent, materials, money, and you can become involved in any of these ways by just reaching out to me. My contact information is in this presentation, which you will have after today, and we would just welcome any community partner that wants to be part of this experience with us. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Apostle. He's going to talk about the funding for this project and some possible closing remarks. Alex?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dina. Well, first, I would like to thank the Chamber for the opportunity to showcase our school district. We have a lot of exciting things happening, and the future is bright in the Shelton School District. In terms of the Med Academy, it will be funded entirely by non-high school district money. And by that, I'm talking about Pioneer, Southside, and Hood Canal. This money is the non-high school district's legal obligation and contribution towards the passing and support of our $60 million plus bond that we passed in 2017, thanks to our supportive community. This money can only be spent on high school capital projects, making the Med Academy facility possible. The total non-high school district contribution coming from Pioneer, Southside, and Hoods Canal is $6.5 million. The new Med Academy facility will cost anywhere between $4 and $5 million. The balance of this money, which could be between $1 million and $1.5 million, will be utilized to support our new high school, Cedar High School, which is a project-based, community-based high school that has been initiated this fall with an starting enrollment of 80 students. We have a ways to go there, but it's a very exciting endeavor that people are extremely excited about. Let me just talk a little bit about the vision of the Shelton School District. Everything that you've heard about this afternoon drives our vision. The vision of the Shelton School District is 100% graduation for all students by 2022. Now, the pandemic has put a little dent in that, but we're not stopping. We're pushing very hard in terms of everything we do, everything we say regarding our vision of 100% graduation for all students. It's easy to say, but the only way to support this vision is to excite and inspire and motivate students to desire that school is the only place to be. And by what you've heard this afternoon, this is the direction that we're going. We want to inspire our kids, excite them about being at school every day. We are making that happen in the Shelton School District by creating programs that support student success, not just giving them the opportunity. Opportunity, you can take it or leave it. And when people mention we're going to give kids the opportunity, I really think differently about that term. We need to excite them. So what we want to do is to continue to inspire our students to become what they can be. And we do that by initiating programs, new programs, such as we've introduced to you this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apostle, Dina, and Bruce. This opens our question and answer portion for the Shelton School District. So those of you who are listening in, by all means, if you have questions, send those in. We do have one already. Dr. Apostle, we have a question here asking, does Cedar High School replace Choice High School, or will Cedar be a third high school?
Cedar High School is a completely different high school. Choice High School plays a very important role in our school district, meeting the needs of all students, and it will continue to function. And actually, there'll be some newer programs added to Choice High School, but Choice High School is not going anywhere. It's going to stay in our school system because it really does a fabulous job supporting students that maybe have special circumstances.
Thank you so much. And it doesn't appear that we have any additional questions. So if you have any staff members, I know you had joining you today, that would like to add anything, now would be the time to do so. And otherwise, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Heidi.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your presentations today. We are very excited to see what will come of the Met and can't wait to have that completely built out. And I know that we will have many people interested in helping out, participating as speakers as well as expert in the field. So thank you again. We do appreciate all of today's speakers. Thank you to Olympic College, North Mason, and Shelton School Districts for joining us today. And thank you everyone for attending. If you have any other questions, you can reach us at the Chamber office at 360-426-2021 or email info@masonchamber.com. You will also receive a follow-up link via email that will have a link to the recording of today's webinar and also a survey on today's presentation. So if you can complete that and provide your feedback, that lets us know where we need to go moving forward. So thank you again.
And I concur with Heidi. We just really appreciate that update from our education, and we applaud them all for the work that they've done. This has not been easy for them to get this year's kicked off, but we really appreciate all of them. We hope that you'll join us next week to hear about the Port of Allen, the Port of Shelton, and Mason PUD. And again, we conclude the series with our local tribes, which will be on the 24th. So we look forward to seeing all of you come back and join us for the next 2 weeks in this series. 2020 has certainly been a challenge, and we're excited to continue to hear from our local leadership on how they're responding and planning for our future, especially when we can't get together one-on-one as we have in the past. On behalf of the North Mason Chamber, the Mason Chamber, and the EDC, our presenters, thank you for joining us today. We hope that you continue to tune in and learn more about our state of our community, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.